Guys, we're back. Episode 2 of the show. Just a quick disclaimer, we're not responsible for fantasy losses on account that you follow this fantasy football advice. All right, so Scott, you're a well-renowned wedding DJ and golf instructor. So how did you get your start in fantasy football?
One of my coworkers on the driving range asked me if I played fantasy golf first, and I said no. But then he said, "Would I like to play fantasy football?" I said, "Sure, I know a little bit about football, so why not?"
A couple quarterback questions. Josh Allen or Dak Prescott? Who would you rather have?
I'll go with Josh Allen. Well, especially now since Dak seems like he's having some arm and shoulder issues right now. So they said he should be ready by the start of the season, but I'm still not sure because that's something to worry about, because if it's taking him this long to recover, you don't know if it's going to, re-injure himself again. And especially the year Josh Allen had last year and his targets with Diggs, and he loves his tight ends and the way he throws the ball. I just like Josh Allen more, and he can run. I mean, I know Dak runs, but that's like scrambling. But they purposely put a running game in for Josh Allen.
Design run plays for Josh Allen.
Yes, exactly.
Funny thing, Dak was on pace for 7,000 yards last year if he didn't get hurt. I mean, of course he's gonna miss a game or two. They're up a lot, they pull him out, so it's very unlikely. But if he stayed on that pace, he would have.
But you wouldn't consider that garbage yards, because a lot of times they were down 20 to 30 points, and obviously you have to throw to get back into the game.
That's where he got a lot of his points in junk time, or attempting to come back. Okay, and so next is Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray.
That's a really tough one, because that offense in Baltimore is designed for Lamar to throw and run. So he gets a lot of points. Rushing touchdowns are obviously, in Yahoo standard leagues, is 2 more points than a passing touchdown. And, 10 yards rushing is a point rather than 25 yards passing. But I think I like Kyler more. Kyler runs also. Not as more designed like Lamar.
He's more of a scrambler.
Yes.
And picks up yards.
I like Kyler's targets. You have D-Hop. You have A.G. Green now. I like his targets much better. His wide receivers. Baltimore really doesn't have receivers. I mean, they do, but not a top one like D-Hop, obviously. And A.J. Green is a gritty veteran that knows how to get open over the middle, and he'll be a possession receiver. But I think I like Kyler more.
I think the drafting of Rashawn Bateman and another year with Marquise Brown, Hollywood, he'll have a little. They're looking to attack the passing game a little more. All right, next we have Russell Wilson, who's only missed one game or no games in his career, or Aaron Rodgers.
That's another tough one. I'll probably have to go with Rodgers just because the year he had last year, undoubtedly.
MVP year?
Yes, MVP year. I know some concerns are he might not be happy, so will he play up to his potential, or will he play up to, saying like Devontae will have the same year? Because if Rodgers is unhappy, but I think he will. Russ is always consistent, always. I think he throws one of the best deep balls in the league, and he has DK and Lockett. But I have to go with Rodgers. That offense just runs with Aaron Jones in the backfield. I know Chris Carson's back there too, but Russ did struggle a little bit towards the end of the year. His offensive line isn't as good as Rodgers. If Green Bay's offensive line is healthy, I would have to go with Rodgers.
So, yeah, and then these quarterbacks are going around the same time. So if you don't grab one of these, top quarterbacks, there's always Justin Herbert, who had a big year last year, and Tannehill, who I'm expecting to have a huge year this year. Najee Harris, the Pittsburgh Steelers rookie running back. How early for him. He's going early second round. He's unproven, but if you want to grab him, you have to get him in the second round. How comfortable do you feel?
Early second round, late first round, actually, I feel very comfortable because he's going to be their workhorse. I know he had a fantastic college career, ridiculous numbers. You saw him if you watched the BCS championship game, he took over that game. He's going to be the main running back in Pittsburgh, nobody else. I mean, obviously there'll be a third down back, but he's going to be the man. So their line is really good. I like him. They'll hopefully use him to open up the passing game also. But he's a stud running back. I would feel comfortable taking him early second, late first. I know unproven, like you said, as a rookie running back, but it's a risk you got to take. And Pittsburgh does like to pound the ball, so.
And sticking with the Pittsburgh offense, which of the Pittsburgh wide receivers do you like the most, or do you think will have more productive year? Chase Claypool, Juju, who has always been my favorite but had a couple disappointing years, or Deontay Johnson?
Deontay Johnson. He showed signs of being a really good receiver last year. I know he dropped a couple of balls, but he's going to be one of the better receivers in that offense. Juju, like you said, always consistent, always catches a lot of balls, but I don't think he's had over 1,000 yards in like the last 2 or 3 years. So, I mean, he's consistent, but like not over 1,000 yards in that offense. They throw the ball a lot. This year, I think they're going to throw a little less because obviously they have a good running back. Nothing against James Conner.
He's been Juju's been a lot of dink and dunk last year.
Yeah, exactly. But Deontay runs the 9 route, which is the fly route, really fast, good hands. So I think Deontay's going to be the most successful because Claypool came out of nowhere last year, but I think that's because nobody knew of him.
Yeah.
And no one was expecting him to do that well. I mean, he's a huge, big receiver. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", good hands. But now I think defenses are going to key on him more than Juju, obviously, because of his big year last year. So I like Deontay Johnson.
And then back to the rookie running backs this year, Carter from the Jets and Trey Sermon, the running back in San Francisco.
And Sermon and the Jets.
Okay, and sticking with rookie running backs this year, Michael Carter from the Jets or Trey Sermon from the 49ers, both going pretty late, good value, both sharing time. Who would you reach for?
The Niners like Trey Sermon a lot, but it's tough to surpass Mostert up there because, he has experience, he runs really hard. I like Michael Carter, even though Tevin Coleman's there. But Tevin Coleman, I don't think he's been healthy in 2 or 3 years.
He's a little injury prone.
Yeah, so I like Michael Carter. They like him a lot on the Jets. They like him with Zach Wilson, the quarterback there. I think he's going to take over for Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman hasn't been able to hang on, with the Falcons and then the Niners getting hurt. I think that's why they released him, because that would have been a really good two-headed monster, Tevin Coleman and Mostert, but he can't stay healthy. So I think just be patient on both of these backs, but I think Carter eventually will take over for sure as the number 1 running back.
And Zach Wilson, he's looking sharp this preseason, and that'll help Michael Carter, I think. Who do you think is gonna take the biggest second-year running back leap? Towards the end of last year, I thought it was going to be James Robinson. I was totally blindsided by the drafting of Travis Etienne. But who do you think is going to make that biggest leap?
I got to pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
I think Swift from the Detroit Lions, DeAndre Swift.
Most opportunity, you think?
Yes, exactly. He showed flashes last year, obviously, but I think he's going to take a bigger role this year. and I think he's gonna make the biggest leap out of the second year, the sophomore running backs.
And so we're in a big dynasty league together. Who are you keeping? You don't have to tell me everybody you're keeping. Just maybe one or two players you're keeping.
I really don't know. I haven't looked at anything yet, to be honest. I don't know. I gotta look at what years the last year of my keepers. So
I think I'm losing Saquon Barkley this year.
But I'm not sure. I haven't really looked at it yet. So I do have to take a look at that because the season's right around the corner.
Yeah. So I like Trevor Lawrence. I think they'll be down a lot. He should have a pretty good fantasy season comparable to maybe Justin Herbert last year. He's currently going quarterback 9. He's mobile, but he's not a runner. To be top 10, the difference is about 500 yards between being a dual threat quarterback or elite. Are you drafting Lawrence in redraft leagues this year or only in dynasty?
I would draft him in redraft leagues, but not too early. Maybe if I don't have a QB by round.
Do you tend to wait on quarterbacks?
Yes, I do. Unless there's those leagues where quarterbacks get like 10 points for like every 100 yards they pass or something, or ridiculous numbers, because there are leagues out there that do that, where if you throw over 300 yards, it's like an extra bonus, like 40 points or something. Then I would take a quarterback like second or third round, like a Mahomes or a Rodgers or Allen, or guys who get yards in volume. But I usually don't. I usually wait, because after those first-tier quarterbacks are gone, like Allen, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Lamar Jackson and Russ, they're basically all the same. Like Stafford, Tannenhill, they're all about the same tier. Yeah. But you can't wait too late, because then you'll get stuck with like Derek Carr or like maybe Sam Darnold this year. So I try to maybe wait around 8 or 9. Before, you could get away with waiting, because you could get like Phillip Rivers in the 10th or 11th round, and he still used to get a bunch of yards. I know a lot of interceptions, but a bunch of yards. But I don't think you could wait that long now, because everyone seems to be picking up quarterbacks left and right. So, I think 9th or 10th round is okay, because I'm a running back first kind of draft pick guy.
Yeah, me too.
So, especially with, 2 running backs in the flex, I like having a running back in the flex, not a receiver, because running backs touch the ball a lot more.
Yeah,
so
I haven't talked about Mahomes much. Kind of self-explanatory. He's in a class of his own, and if you don't think he's in a class of his own, it doesn't take long to take roll. So top 9. Give me your top 9. Your order.
My order, I would go CMC, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Zeke, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Adams.
You're not a little nervous about Saquon being in your top 10?
Oh, definitely. Just coming off of that kind of major injury.
Probably just a slow start, but then once he picks...
Yeah, once he picks up, he's going to be a beast. But they said he's fully healed from the injury, and he's looking good in warm-ups and, day-to-day stuff. So it's hard to deny, because before that injury, he was probably a top 3 fantasy running back for sure. But I think with Daniel Jones, I can't believe I said that, one more year under his belt, and the addition of like Galladay and, with Sterling Shepard already there, and Evan Ingram, hopefully Daniel Jones can throw the ball. I know the running opens up the passing, but hopefully it's also the other way around for him, because he also catches a lot of balls out of the backfield too. He's one of the few that are a 3-down back.
Mark Ingram is gone. He's in Houston. How do you feel about J.K. Dobbins with Gus Edwards?
I like JK is, first and second down back. We're not really running between the tackles. The outside guy catching balls out of the outfield. And, Gus Edwards is that ground and pound. We're straightforward, between the tackles. I do like JK. I think a lot of people were surprised how good of a year he had last year because, Ingram was there and Edwards was there. But, he came on to be basically the number one running back towards the end of the year. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to continue also because that offense is very tricky with you don't know if Lamar's going to hand it off to him or if Lamar's going to take it on his own, that option offense.
Yeah.
So I think he's about a good middle to late round, second round.
Okay, so just a few more running back questions. I grabbed Josh Jacobs at the end of the third round yesterday in the draft I did. He needs volume to be effective. How do you think he's going to do with the addition of Kenyon Drizzy Drake?
I think he's going to probably lose a little carries to him. I think Kenyon Drake's going to TD hawk him, which means Jacobs will do all the work and goal line. Kenyon Drake will be put in there. Mm-hmm. I think John Gruden probably wants to preserve him because it's going to be his third year.
Yeah.
So I know he got banged up a little bit last year. I know he missed a couple of games, so Gruden might be a little wary of that. That's why they maybe went and got Kenyon Drake because they had a decent running back core with Devontae Booker back there and stuff like that, but he's gone.
Yeah, he had over 300 carries in 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and I know you're in a West Coast offense, run the ball, short passes, Mm-hmm. But he definitely needs volume because, he's a young, good, hard runner. He runs the ball hard. He's a good running back, but I think Drake is going to take a couple carries away from him because, Drake was basically the starting running back in Arizona last year.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be a backup, probably the highest paid backup running back in the NFL.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So, there's a reason they brought him in. So I think, he's going to take a couple carries away from him, which sucks.
I think it'll help Jacobs with his durability issues, but definitely not as fantasy value.
Yeah, I agree.
Zach Moss in Buffalo has more upside, and versus Singletary, this is his third year. You kind of get to know what a running back is and what a running back is going to be the third year. They're going in the same round in Yahoo drafts. Who are you targeting, or if either?
That's a really good question. If I were to target one, probably be Moss. Like you said, he has more upside because it's Singletary's third year and he hasn't lived up to his potential at all, I think. I like Zach Moss. Liked him since college. Well, didn't like him because I'm an SC fan, but used to run the ball against him. But he runs hard. That's the reason why they drafted him because I guess Singletary was doing the job. Because why would you, if you have a future running back, why would you draft another one?
Yeah. They obviously didn't see him as a feature back in Buffalo.
Yes, and I think, and it's weird because Josh Allen runs the ball hard, but they don't run the ball too well in Buffalo. I don't know why, but if you had to pick one, Zach Moss, but I would kind of stay away from the Houston backfield or the Patriots backfield.
Yeah. Do you think? Well, hearing your top 9 rankings, you're not downgrading Kamara with the absence of Drew Brees, but do you think he'll have some sort of drop off, or will he have a better year with Michael Thomas being out for a good amount of time?
His volume will go up, I think, because I don't trust crab legs or Taysom Hill. So obviously, with Drew Brees back there, the threat of throwing was always there. So Kamara could leak out the backfield, catch a ball, and then create, or run the ball downhill. I still have him up there because I think they're still going to use him the same way. Obviously, I think teams now are going to stack the box against him.
With no threat of the pass.
Yes, exactly. So they're gonna let.
But Jameis throws the ball downfield well, but who's going to throw the ball to?
Yes, exactly. So, and do you really trust Jameis? He had the most interceptions in the NFL for like 2 or 3 years in a row. That's why Tampa Bay let him go. But that's why I think they'll stack the box. Hopefully they'll create some holes, but just by sheer volume and talent, you have to take him top 5, top 6, and he catches the ball out of the backfield. They run a lot of screen passes from him. I know Latavius Murray's still there, and obviously he's their third down back, and he'll take a lot of the third down plays away from him. But just Kamara's
vulture a couple touchdowns.
Exactly, but Kamara finished really, really strong last year. I know Drew Brees was still back there, but their offensive line is good, so his value should stay the same. Now, Michael Thomas, I think he's going to drop off a lot if you did any drafts. He's falling off a lot.
He's undraftable to me. I'm not willing to deal with the headache. Joe Mixon is a player I've liked, but he's been very frustrating owning him through these years. Yeah. Last year he missed 10 games with a foot injury. But he's a workhorse back. He had a lights out 2018. No competition in that backfield. He's a pass catcher, but he has the worst offensive line. He averaged 4 yards per carry. Are you nervous if you're taking him this year, or do you feel good about it with the addition of Jamar Chase? Tyler Boyd's still there. T. Higgins still there. Second year with Joe Burrow.
I'm always nervous taking Joe Mixon. He always falls late first round, early second round, and you think it's a steal every year. It just ends up being a disappointment. I know he got hurt last year, but always a disappointment. Such a talented running back. He could be up there with Kamara easy. I know a lot of fantasy experts like him this year because of all the additions you said and all the receivers, all the talent they have, and with Joe Burrow there, they definitely have to respect the passing game with all those receivers. I like him late first round, early second. Take a flyer on him this year because he has a lot of talent. He runs hard. He has speed, and like Dre said, there's no one else is in that backfield. There's no competition. Just hopefully he lives up to his potential this year with all those weapons, and he has a really good year.
All right, we're gonna wrap this show up with a few wide receiver questions. DJ Chark is someone who's undervalued this year, but going where he's going, I think he's good value. And Marvin Jones is someone who's familiar with the offense, with the offensive coordinator, Joe Bevel. He's always outproduced his draft position. He's the third wide receiver behind Chark and Laviska Shenault. Do you prefer Chark over OBJ, who kind of has the widest range of outcomes, I would think, of any wide receiver? He can put up a 0 or he can go for 30 points a game.
OBJ, I know he's been injured and he hasn't lived up to the Cleveland Browns' potential, but he's probably their number one receiver. And like you said, Marvin Jones always overproduces, but also Matt Stafford loves him. So I think he would look out for him. And Stafford, after Megatron, really didn't have like a number one, So I think he was with him the longest and he trusted him. Kenny Galladay would play, but he got hurt. So I don't think he has that kind of relationship yet with Trevor Lawrence. And so I would have to go OBJ because, like Jay said, his potential, every game is always like 20 to 30 points. But then hang a big fat 0. Because, he'll catch a couple balls, but then he'll catch like a 5 yard pass and take it to the house for like an 80 yard yak. You know?
I think he's just still trying to relive that one-handed catch, like every play that he runs. If he would just tone it down and just, he could be very.
Not play games with the $400,000 watch on.
Yeah. Mike Williams, and I call him the San Diego Chargers still because I don't really want them here anymore. Is someone who's going late or not drafted at all. In 10 teams leagues, he's the word on the street is he's gonna have a larger role. Do you prefer him or Devontae Parker in Miami? He was good 2 years ago. He couldn't score, but with the additions of Will Fuller and Jalen Waddle, I think it kind of puts his value behind him. So in a deep league, would you rather have Mike Williams or Devontae Parker?
All the facts you just said, I would go with Mike Williams because he starts. I know Devontae Parker starts on the outside, but San Diego throws the ball a lot, and Herbert has a nice arm, and Mike Williams is his deep target. Tua, he can throw deep too, but I know he likes throwing short. And Devontae is that deep receiver. Fitzpatrick used to hit him deep all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But with the addition of, like you said, Waddle and Will Fuller, I think Will Fuller's going to become that deep guy because he was always the deep guy in Houston.
Yeah.
And then I think Devontae's more going to be now their possession receiver. I know Waddle's there too. He's smaller. He's faster. He's over the middle guy. But I think Tua doesn't throw the ball deep enough. But I'll go with Mike Williams. I've always liked Mike Williams ever since he was a rookie. A lot big receiver. I think 6'5" or 6'6". He can go up and get the ball.
He's a big target.
Yeah, really big target. And I know last year for sure he dealt with a bunch of injuries. I think he was rookie year too. So he's really not stayed healthy. But when he is healthy, once in a while he puts up really, really good numbers. And I know they're going to be double teaming Keenan Allen. So I like him in deeper leagues more than Devontae right now.
I think Tua is going to have better numbers this year. Another year removed from the hip surgery, more weapons. The Dolphins defense is going to be good. Not going to be getting into shootouts. But I still like the weapons they gave Tua to succeed. Wide receivers really deep this year. You can wait just like on quarterback. Julio Jones makes Tannehill better. A couple tough questions. Who do you think is gonna come out of the AFC North?
That division. That's really tough. There's no front runner because that division, I think it's going to be Cleveland, Baltimore, or Pittsburgh. I don't think Cincinnati's up there with them yet, but I think it will probably be Cleveland. Nick Chubb back there has the running game with Kareem Hunt still back there too. Baker Mayfield looks like he's finally maturing, taking care of the ball, knowing what to do. And you still got OBJ, and then that defense. I know Pittsburgh's defense is really good, but Cleveland's defense is going to be just as good.
And the addition of Jadeveon Clowney is going to free up Myles Garrett. I think the Browns are going to come out on top of that division too. And Baker, like you said, Baker Mayfield maturing, really good play action quarterback with those two stud running backs. What was the other one?
Who do you like in the NFC West?
NFC West, that one's tough. I think it's gonna be the Rams.
I agree. I totally agree because their defense, I think they have the number one fantasy defense right now, 1 or 2. The addition of Stafford, I think, was huge because I've always liked Matt Stafford. He does well in the pocket. He knows that he throws the ball deep. very composed quarterback. Dale Henderson's in the backfield. If it was Cam Akers, then for sure I thought they would think they'd be going to Super Bowl. I think they still are, actually.
Yeah, that was quite devastating to lose Cam Akers. He had a very promising second year to his loss with his Achilles injury.
Yep, he was on the verge of being top 10, I think. And then you still got receivers like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee at tight end. They have a lot of weapons, and their defense is going to be probably top 3. And without Jared Goff back there, Matt Stafford's going to make a huge difference, I think. The composure and that veteran, I think they're going to do really, really well.
And you can't count out Seattle, but it definitely won't be the 49ers. All right, guys.